office. So after James Daniel died at the age of 7 due to yellow fever, Daniel Turnbull built this doctor's office and hired a doctor to work there. The doctor would not only be in charge of taking care of the family, but he would be in charge of taking care of all the slaves on all 4 plantations. Now the slave cabins, they don't exist on the property any longer, but they would have been where y'all parked and about a quarter mile out, and it actually would have been shaped like a wheel. So you would have had that well in the middle, and then those slave cabins going off like little spokes. Now the Turnbulls did own 4 plantations. They owned 2 cotton plantations in the Feliciana Parish, and 2 sugarcane plantations off a little island along the Mississippi. While they were here at Rosedown, Martha and Daniel would have 3 children. They would have William, Sarah, and James Daniel. Unfortunately, both the sons would die, leaving Sarah to be the heir of Rosedown. Now, Sarah would marry a man named James Bowman. He would move here, and together they would have 10 children. They would have 8 girls and 2 boys. Now, out of these 8 girls, 4 would never marry, and it was these 4 unmarried daughters who inherited Rosedown. The last of these daughters, Nina, died in 1955 at the age of 86, and she was the last family member to live here. It was then bought by a lady named Catherine Fondren Underwood, who would spend 8 years and $10 million doing a massive restoration of Rosedown. Up on the wall, you're seeing French scenic wallpaper. It's not the original, but Catherine Underwood was able to find something very similar. She actually found this wallpaper in a vault in Paris, and it dates back to 1820. So it's actually 15 years older than what the original one would have been. Now our next stop will actually be the dining room. We just ask that y'all are very careful because there is an alarm system and it's very touchy. So if you bump into anything, it goes off.
Question for you. Is there any paranormal activity that you know of?
No, ma'am. I would not be working here if so, because I'm terrified of it. So right over here, you will see a picture of Daniel Turnbull, his wife Martha, their eldest son William. He would die at the age of 27 in a boating accident. And then you have Sarah. She would become the heir. Now, you're not seeing a picture of James Daniel, their younger brother, because he died at the age of 7 due to yellow fever. You usually got your first portrait done around the age of 15 or 16 when you were considered an adult. Now, this is your dining room, and the most formal meal of the day would happen between 2 and 5 in the afternoon. Well, it's the hottest part of the day, so you wanted everyone inside. The next room y'all will walk through is the butler's pantry. So, of course, back then, the kitchen was never attached to the home. It was just too hot. You had to keep a fire burning 24/7 for the coals to be hot enough to cook. So this is just where the slaves would bring the food and plate it before serving it to the family. Now, in the butler's pantry, you'll notice a slave staircase. During the Restoration, Catherine Underwood did not touch the staircase at all because it tells such a story. So it's all the original wood. And if you look closely, you can see the dips in the wood from where the slaves have worn it out from walking up and down. The only thing Underwood did was add electricity. So keep in mind, these slaves were walking up the staircase in the dark. There's no spots for, candles or lanterns or anything. So this is the formal parlor. So of course, after dinner or a party, you'd have women in here in the women's parlor drinking tea and gossiping, and the men would be straight through there in the men's parlor drinking hard liquor and talking politics. And there was a door there to separate them. Now behind me, straight behind the couch, you're seeing Rosina Benoit. She was Martha's favorite niece. But right over here, you're seeing Eliza Bowman, or Eliza Prairie. Now, she was the one who was tutored by John James Audubon from Oakley. Now, she would be James's mother, Sarah's mother-in-law. So that's her relation to the home. That's why we have those Audubon pictures to sort of help explain things to y'all in the other room. Our sort of national treasure is this little fire tapestry, that little needlepoint piece that's framed. I don't know if you can see it with the boat, the little skiff. Now, that was actually done by our first lady, the needlepoint part, Martha Washington.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, we're not allowed in the men's parlor, but y'all welcome to peek in there and look around.
So what's the reason why we can't go in the men's parlor?
Stuff has gone missing in there.
Wow.
We have big groups, not any
Yeah.
active, but we have big groups, like boat groups, and we have like 30 people come in there and the cards go missing, and it's just... Now, this room was very well thought out in the way it was built. Daniel would actually shut that pocket door, and everyone he did business with would enter through this side door, so they didn't have to walk throughout the home. Now, if y'all walk around the house after, you will notice it's its own entryway on the right. It still has the columns and the staircase. It's still very pretty. It was just a lot more efficient. Now, on his desk, you are seeing a picture of Catherine Underwood. She never lived here, but after she spent 8 years and $10 million, put her somewhere, so she ended up right here. Now, we're very thankful for her. She is the reason Rosedown is here today. When she found it, it was in complete deterioration. Now, she had no relation to the family at all. She actually heard about Rosedown at a gardening conference in Natchez, and she would come down here and fall in love with Martha's Gardens and decide to help out. So we're very thankful for her. Now, this is the last room downstairs. If you'll have any questions before we head up. Now, up on the mantle, you are seeing a picture of James Bowman. He would marry Sarah. Together, they would have 10 children. Now, James would fight in the Civil War. He would become a major in the war, and that is his original sword. And then he would die in here at the age of 94.
My stuff. I want to feel in there.
Hold her stuff.
I'm
Like
gonna
VIP
open up.
access right here. This is cool.
I'm gonna open up all the way.
How long have you been doing these tours?
Not very long.
You're really good at it.
Thanks.
Like,
Yeah, I grew up here, so not much else to do besides learn history. Yes, not much else to do besides history.
so you've had like no paranormal experiences here?
I have not, but y'all can talk to some of my.
What happened in this room here?
All I know is that James passed away at 94 in there. I can go ask Sasha real fast.
Okay.
I just know this was a bedroom for the 400 daughters.
Definitely in here, but I'm gonna tell you, when you're feeling it, it's almost like it's up there. There was nothing. You didn't feel nothing, but here you can feel the burn, and I don't feel malviolence, but what I do feel is presence. It's not evil. It's not bad. It's not violent or anything like that.
I believe James just passed away from old age, but let me go
Yeah.
get one of my other people that know more than me.
I mean, everybody died in the house, but everybody
Right.
died in houses
Yeah.
at that time. It was added to the house in 1845 as a guest house or a guest room. And towards the end, James is the one that was living in here just because it was easier to get around in.
Yeah.
Once he died, they locked off the room and never came back in here.
Okay.
So they, I'm guessing somebody died. They covered the windows and all that superstitious.
Yeah, we're not picking up anything male violent or anything in here. We just feel a presence in here. That's why I was asking. Now that room there, I felt something similar, but not as intense. But upstairs, I didn't feel anything up there. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm the one. If it's gonna happen to somebody, it's gonna happen to me.
So
It's
you
usually
definitely,
how it works.
you definitely have something here, though.
Well,
but
James,
it's not
I mean,
violent.
if it is James, I don't know. No, James was very, I always considered him like Santa Claus.
He lived here his whole life?
No.
That's not the dude in the photo right there,
Yeah,
is it?
that's
It
him.
is.
Yeah, it looks like Santa
Yeah.
Claus.
But yeah, they always considered him kind and gentle.
Yeah.
There's no children that are talking or anything like that, so that's good. But basically, it's just, you can feel it here, very low residue there, in that third room there. But it's basically centered here and in here.
That's, I think, kind of what sets us apart too from the Myrtles is they're kind of more
It's all residue
specializing
then.
in ghosts.
Yeah.
And the
It's
thing
good
too,
here.
like the family, they started giving tours in the house.
Yeah.
The 4 daughters that were here, James was real big on that.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of continuing what they started.
Yeah.
And hopefully doing it in a good light. You
I
know?
think so. The tour was very well
Yeah.
given.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
she's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I was asking how long she's been doing it for. 'Cause
Yeah,
wow,
very
it's
good.
impressive.
That's almost
Yeah.
a year now, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow. So these plantations we have here, did the families have dealings with other plantations here, like Oak Alley, Greenwood plantations, and
They were all like kind of ran in the same circles.
yeah.
So, I mean, they might not have been necessarily doing business, but they ran in the same social circle.
More than likely, based on the fact us being here, kind of what you're saying, if we do catch anything paranormal, it's more likely to be like residual. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
anything intelligent.
It's gonna be residual because this is a very clean place. It's very nice, positive, very good energy. Sorry.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.